What up, Long Beach? Welcome back to GazetteSports.com and the Press Telegram. It's Mike.
And JJ, and this video is brought to you by Naples Rib Company, the perfect place to cater your team's next event.
We don't want to be downers.
Never.
We're positive people.
Always.
We are positive people. But
half full over here, y'all.
For the second time in 3 weeks, we've got to do a what's going on with the fill-in-the-blank offense. And this
the elite offense,
the elite
as
offenses.
It were.
We had we did a podcast, a quick one about Bosco and kind of some of the struggles they'd had offensively. That's a whole other topic of discussion now with the backup quarterback in the mix. But now, today, we wanted to talk a little bit about Long Beach Poly and what's been going on with that offense. I think before the season started, when everyone looks at an All-American like Matt Corral at quarterback and then somewhere between 5 and 7 Division I wide receivers in the mix, you certainly expected to see a little bit better offensive production than we've seen so far. 77 points in 4 games, only putting up 1 touchdown against Mission Viejo. Leading Milliken 14-0 after 3 quarters. These are not necessarily, I think, a lot of people just walking up and down the sidelines and then looking on our Twitter feed and our email accounts are surprised to not have seen more scoring from the Jackrabbits offense.
Let's cut to the quick. It's not bad play calling, it's the wrong play calling. This play calling would be great for a team like, Mayfair, who 3 yards in a cloud of dust works, and then you've got a guy who can also throw the ball. At Long Beach Poly, they should not be a 3 yards in a cloud of dust. What are you about, Long Beach Poly offense? It should be getting the ball into your best player's hands as much as possible with quick throws, and that's Matt Corral to his massive targets on the outside. You just have to go to that. That's got to be your go-to.
I think the thing we were most surprised by that Mission Viejo game where they really struggled offensively was you look at the first half where there's 14 runs and 9 passes, and you go, are they really on pace to only have Matt Corral throw the ball 18 times in this game?
Just flip that, and he's going to feel less put on in the second half to make those throws, is what I'm saying. If he throws the ball 14 times instead of 9 times, it's not going to feel like he has to win the game with every throw.
Right, yeah, and I think that is some of what happened. You look at that line of 4 interceptions in that game against Mission Viejo. One of them, a tipped pass. One of them, an All-American making a play on an All-American as Elijah Griffin made a great break on the ball. And then 2 bad throws by Corral that...
2 Brett Favre throws.
When we looked at him, that's exactly what we said. We said, this kid's playing like Brett Favre right now, that he maybe is feeling a little bit like he's got to do more than he actually needs to do, and he's kind of taking himself out of his game. So I think what would make sense to see more of is just what JJ said: 3-step drop, quick read to one of your 6'4", 6'5".
They're huge, Mike.
In Jalen Hall and Cameron McDonald, and I think as we've seen with both of those guys, they can both do a lot after the catch. So
yak.
You also maybe give yourself more plays on offense by going into a no huddle, maybe dropping Matt back into a shotgun position. I don't necessarily know all the ins and outs of what everyone's comfortable with or what their strengths are, but I think traditionally, if you look at what's happening in high school offenses right now, you feel like Poly has better tools than most teams to succeed in that up-tempo quick read offense, and they have a quarterback who can make those reads in Corral.
And watch them for 5 minutes and you can see they're not comfortable.
For sure. It's definitely been a little bit like watching a Ferrari grind its gears for the first 4 games of this season. They are in the midst of the Moore League season, which is traditionally where the Jackrabbits kind of come together and get things right. So
and I need to say something. I need to say something on that, because the starters did not start the game against Milliken. Now that may be for a variety of different reasons. That's fine, but it needs to be said that in very recent history, Poly football, like Mike just said, has gotten right in the Moore League schedule, found its identity in the Moore League schedule. And if you don't run your starters out there in the Moore League games, you're not going to be able to work into what is going to make you the best football team come playoff time. You have got to get better every day. And if you're not running those guys out who are going to be playing the Trinity League teams in the first round of the playoffs, they're not going to be ready for that game.
All fair points. Obviously, plenty of weeks coming up to see how the Jackrabbits offense comes together. We'll have video of all that action. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors, including Papalucci's, a great place to eat down on 2nd Street. Plenty of football ahead. We're pretty excited to see what happens. To find out what happens along with us, you got to stay right here.